In a night dedicated to the late Brodie Lee, we had an amazing championship match in the main event of AEW Dynamite. And yes, we have a brand new TNT champion, Sammy Guevara, closed out the night in Rochester, New York with glitter, celebration, and happiness. We're going to jump into everything you need to know about tonight's Dynamite and last night's NXT in the Debrief.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Sportskeeda Wrestling's The Debrief. I'm your host, Jose G. And next to me is the top Chico himself, Rico el Glorioso. And what a hell of a night to close out AEW Dynamite. We got a brand new champion. I'm a little disappointed, and I'm going to give my little rant in just a little bit. But before we jump into that, how are you, Rico?
I'm good, man. This is, it's crazy. We're already in October, pretty much. This year, it feels like it's flying by, but that just means we're getting closer and closer to WrestleMania season. We already know where the road to WrestleMania is going to begin, but we still got a couple stops to get there. We just had Extreme Rules. We got Survivor Series coming up, and AEW continues to just put out bangers of shows and even just regular Dynamites in the upcoming Rampage, where we got another set of great matches looking forward to. So wrestling just continues to get better. But how you been, Jose?
I'm doing great, man. I'm ready to talk about tonight's Dynamite because I am. Even though I'm not mad at seeing Sammy Guevara become the new TNT champion, I have a major bone to pick now with AEW. But before we get into me giving my rant about that match, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Very important. We're on our road to 30,000 subscribers. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Never miss when we drop brand new content. Rick Ucchino just dropped a brand new WWE draft, his mock draft on what he thinks is going to go down this weekend. We're going to have a live coverage Friday night here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, Monday night here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, non-stop coverage of the WWE draft. It's going to be great. The only way you can keep up with it, you got to subscribe. You got to hit that notification button. If you're watching us on YouTube, share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group. Go ahead and tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in the conversation. All right? So go ahead and do that. Engage with the show as well. Show off and sound off in the comments. Let us know what you thought of both shows. We will be reviewing them, and we'll want to get your rating on both AEW Dynamite and NXT 2.0. But let's start off with AEW Dynamite. Hell of a main event. I thought the match itself, I had no problem with the match. I thought the match was good, right?
It was really good, yeah.
However, how in the hell are you? This is the first main event for Miro as TNT champion, and you have him drop it? What? Why?
After all that we were talking about, after how many weeks of this show have you brought up the fact that they're not utilizing Miro as a TNT champion? They just some vignettes and, on a random Rampage, not even as the main event. And now that we finally have a main event, we were talking in the text chat, excited, finally, Miro's going to close out a Dynamite against a solid opponent, Sammy Guevara. And this happens to the Redeemer. He drops the title to Sammy Guevara. Oh, I'm not mad that Sammy. I'm not mad that Sammy has become the new champion. And as a matter of fact, he deserves it. But I just feel like there's a lot. Oh man, they're just not respecting the hell out of Miro because he has done some of his best work this last year. He's been a hell of a TNT champion, a dominant TNT champion, and he gets his first loss to Sammy Guevara. Dude, that first loss should have been either Punk or Kenny or Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson or Adam Cole. Sammy Guevara. Come on. One of the four pillars of AEW, Jose. He's one of the four young pillars of AEW. MJF, he laid out exactly why Sammy Guevara beat Miro. But he is a Spanish god, and Miro is God's favorite champion, but I guess this time the guy wanted to take the title himself. But the first thing I thought of was you. As soon as Miro lost, I was like, hooray for Sammy. But I know Jose's going to be upset because after all of this is how Miro drops the title.
It's unfortunate, man, because he's been doing such a great job. Even his video promos, even as much as I criticize AEW for utilizing Miro in vignettes and in video packages, I mean, he's been killing it with what, I mean, listen, Miro's been doing a really good job with what he has, right? Now that he's not TNT champion, is he going to go for the main title? Is he going to go to Kenny Omega? Is that going to be his next contender? We already got someone else who's calling out Kenny Omega, but I don't know. I don't know if this was the right call. Kenny Bolin, who's part of the Sportskeeda team here on YouTube, he's asking, where's Dutch? Dutch is not on the debrief. He's on Fridays, but we appreciate you watching, Kenny. It's always, I always get a kick of watching Kenny just tear apart Riccocino because it just makes my day better.
It's so fun.
Not because I don't like Rick. I absolutely love Rick. I think he's a great guy to work with.
Oh yeah,
just Kenny just does a great job, just ripping apart.
He is just poking the bear, just egging him on a little bit, just getting a little emotion out of poor Rick. But we have some people here. Kyle KPK talking about what you just said, Jose. Miro heading for the AEW championship. So I wouldn't be mad at that. I would not be mad to see Kenny Omega versus Miro. But you know what? Maybe this is going to be a feud that's going to go on for a little bit, between Sammy Guevara and Miro. I won't be mad seeing a rematch for this or, even a little longer feud going on. But it's kind of basically, like I said, it solidifies what MJF just said. Like, there's 4 guys that they're really building AEW around. Sammy Guevara is one of them. And while I thought it was going to be Jungle Boy the one to take that belt off of Miro, I'm not too mad at Sammy because he's an incredibly talented guy. We met him long before AEW here in Central Florida. So it's been amazing to see his growth from seeing him at Gods and Monsters over there in Orlando to now being the brand new TNT champion 1 week removed from the 2nd anniversary of AEW. That's one hell of a come up, and it's been great to be part of, seeing his journey from where he was to where he is. I'm really excited for Sammy. It just unfortunately had to be at the expense of the Redeemer, God's favorite champion, your champion, my champion, Miro.
Oh, well, I mean, it's, it is what it is. Again, like I said before, I'm not mad that Sammy is champion. I just didn't think it was going to be at the cost of Miro, but it is what it is. Maybe he'll get a push now to the AEW world title. Time will only tell. But we had a great show otherwise, other than that personal disappointment. Like Christopher Ryan, he's like, oh my God, when Miro actually lost to myself, exactly. I bet Jose G's pissed. Yes, I was. But we had an incredible opening match, Rico, Jungle Boy, and Adam Cole, man. That match was a hell of a match to open up Dynamite. Ended up with some shenanigans. Adam Cole got to hit that low blow. He's got to play that heel, but he won it all on his own, which is the point that he made later on in the promo while the entire Elite came out to celebrate not only Adam Cole's victory, but also to kind of make sure that everybody knows that Kenny is not going to have a rematch with Daniel Bryan after one of the greatest matches in AEW history, or probably the greatest match in AEW history, what happened last week. Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, 30-minute draw. Bryan wants that rematch.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. Like, we want to see the conclusion of that match. And this is one of those matches where, this could be a feud where we see this matchup a bunch of times and it just gets better. It just elevates every single time that they have these matches together, because these are 2 talented guys, 2 arguably of the best wrestlers in the world that can always up their game, tell a great story in the ring. So I'm never going to be mad of seeing another match between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega. Of course, he's kind of jumping the line because technically he's 0-0-1, with having a no contest on his record, yet he's still right there and basically on the cusp of having another match against Kenny Omega for the AEW title this time. I still want to see that match happen, and I think this is a nice little placeholder until Adam Page is ready to come back, from his paternity leave, which, like everyone, all the babies are coming out. Like this was the year of superstars having babies, because like congratulations to Ronda Rousey and Travis Brown having their daughter. Hangman and Page, I believe if they haven't already, they're close to having their child soon. Like all the people, all these talented wrestlers are having these kids. So again, in 18 years, man, professional wrestling is going to be amazing. But I think this feud between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega is a nice placeholder until we get to that eventual match between Adam Page and Kenny. But man, just between the talent that we knew, this was one of the dream matches when we knew Adam Cole baby was coming to AEW, was against a young up and comer like Jungle Boy. We've been seeing that, especially when he called him out, especially in the 6-man tag. We were waiting for this kind of match, and it's great to see them showcase the talent. And again, this is a nice big rub for Jungle Boy, because everybody knows how talented Adam Cole is. But now you put that confidence in him to have this solid match, because this went basically like the first half hour of the show, from the intro to the end of this match. So they have that faith in Jungle Boy, which is why he's one of the 4 pillars. But then the Super Elite continues to show why they are so awesome what they do, getting all the heat from the crowd, talking about the members of the Elite. Oh, and you have Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler. But they continue to egg everybody else on, basically leading it up to the promo, like you said, with Daniel Bryan, getting the crowd to chant Kenny No Balls at Kenny Omega, because he didn't have the balls to accept the challenge from Bryan Danielson. I got to still remember to use that for their eventual rematch. But we got, of course, Daniel Bryan supported by Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, Jurassic Express, and Christian Cage. So, of course, we are going to have that match coming up where we're going to have the Elite versus the 4 guys that we had just mentioned, which is going to be another fun one to watch. But out of all these multi-man tag matches, like, can we keep it under 10? Keep it at 8. This 8 that we're going to get here is fine. Don't double it, because that was a bit much earlier.
16.
Later on.
16 is crazy. 16, a 16-man tag match. It was messy, but this was just all really a match of just kind of really just pay tribute to Brodie Lee. They were in Brodie Lee's hometown in Rochester, New York. That 16-man tag. I mean, the closing sequence was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. When John Silver just goes like Super Saiyan on everyone, he starts taking out this guy, takes out 2 other guys, bicycle kicks another dude, jumps on the 3rd rope. I mean, and then just the sequence how it all ended within like a 15-second span. Just so much that went on at the same time. The crowd couldn't even keep up with all the spots, because it was like, oh.
The Popes and the jump seats.
Yeah, it was just an overload of moves, right? It was like watching if you were playing WWE 2K22 but on super turbo mode. That's what AEW Dynamite's closing segment was. But
every single person.
But it was fun. The Dark Order got to win. They were able to pay the tribute to the late Brodie Lee, and everyone went home happy home tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how the story continues to play out, because, of course, the speculation before, and then, of course, you guys debunked it earlier this evening on your news recap that, are we going to see Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. Wyndham Rotunda, tonight? No, because it's not about him. I thought they did a great job of really focusing this on Brodie Lee, who is from Rochester, New York, and especially with the Legacy Foundation that they created in his honor. I thought that's an amazing thing to have. Especially, all these donations and proceeds going to that foundation, and bringing in Amanda, bringing in his widow and -1 to really show like there's a reason why, the Dark Order came together, and it was Brodie Lee. So this is the one reason they should come together, put the differences aside. She had to get into the face of Evil Uno and Stu Grayson to get him back in line. And of course, being, flanked by Anna Jay and Ty Conti really helped bring the Dark Order together so we can have that moment. And of course, like you said, that high pace action, especially that tandem offense that John Silver and Alex Reynolds do, like their tag team like finisher that they do when it's like German suplex into this move, into this move, into this move. Like it capped that off really great into the fatality. And it goes to show when the Dark Order together, in the ring, they can do something solid. It just happens to be a little campy when you look at being the Elite. They kind of need that edge, and they're at least giving this other dimension to the group with this situation. But of course, on tonight, being where they were, this was about the Dark Order coming together in honor of one Brodie Lee. So I thought they did a great job with that. And it just goes to show, like, people are still invested in the Dark Order and what they can do. It's just, are they going to be able to take it to another level, with somebody else coming in? Are they going to, figure their stuff out? Is somebody going to step up? Somebody else going to come in? It remains to be seen. But on tonight, it ended on the highest note. They had -1 on their shoulders where he rightfully should be. So this was a nice feel-good moment here tonight on Dynamite.
Julio Cesar Gomez watching us on YouTube. Do you think that we will see Okada and Naito in AEW? I mean, we can. We've been seeing, we saw Suzuki the last couple of weeks. Maybe. Who knows? I would love to see Okada and Naito in AEW. Where do you fit him, though? Where do you put him? What spot? Against who? That's what you got to figure out.
Everybody, exactly. New Japan versus Moxley. That's what this is.
It's New Japan versus Moxley. Yeah, I think that's a strong assessment. We did have a tag team matchup here. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson going up against Mike Sydal and Dante Martin. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson getting the win. But it was what happened afterwards. While Tony Schiavone is getting the post-match interview, Cody calls out Malachi Black, and Anderson is like, no, shut your mouth. Be quiet. I'm tired of seeing you lose. He took out the entire Nightmare family. You know what? I'm done. I don't coach losers. Come on, Lee. Let's go. Leaves Cody in the middle of the ring. Very telling, especially since he has a reality show premiering tonight on TNT right after the show. The crowd is booing him from the get.
Yeah, they were.
CM Punk calls him out on commentary. I wonder how much that entrance cost.
Oh. This is it's good on so many different levels because yes, like a lot of you guys are commenting here in the chat, this is his heel turn. Cody is never going to say, and he said it before, he's never going to call himself a heel. He's not. What he's going to do is take this persona of a person who believes he's doing everything right, even though he's doing it in heelish ways. He is Homelander. He is becoming the Homelander character that we saw when he came out in that gear, with the extra long cape now, like we saw not too long ago with a 20-foot cape or 20-foot cape that he came out to the ring with. Like, he's starting to tap into that. Oh, I'm still the good guy. He just happens to go about it in heelish ways. And this is just another step in that direction.
So he's really taken to the Homelander character.
Absolutely.
From the boys.
Yeah, that's what he's going to be. He's always
doing
what's right, but he's going to do it in a heelish way. And it lends to this. Arn is going to push him to that. And that's going to be where he can truly show, can he have this character? Can he be a heel without having to say that he's a heel, without having to drop that promo and say, you know why I turned my back on Arn Anderson? Because of all you people. No, he's going to be more subtle than that. It's going to be more finesse. It's going to be like, no, I'm still, your champion, even though he's going to do a lot of healer stuff, including officially turn his back on Arn Anderson, which, by the way, Arn, I did not know he had that much gangster in him. But when he was talking about,
when he said, "Oh, you're the person that just stands back," oh yeah, take my car, but don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No, I'm the guy that has the Glock, points it, and blows. He says I'm gonna blow someone's brains out on national TV.
Okay, all right, Art and Kenny Ball. Our time was he knows where the bodies are. So I love that little edge to Arn, but that's gonna be the long story. It's gonna be Cody turning into that heel persona without saying he's a heel. In his head, he's always doing what's right. He believes he's the good guy in every situation, but his actions in the ring are what's going to be different, and that's going to tell that character. So I'm intrigued to see if he can really pull this off.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Last time Cody tried to go heel, it just completely backfired in his face. So we'll see. We shall see. We did have a quick backstage promo with Alex Marvez, Lucha Bros, and Andrade interrupts, reminding them that it's been a while since they defended their Triple A tag team championships. And he challenged them. He's going to find a partner, and they're not going to back down because they got Cero Miedo. Then we got a 6-man tag match. We got Darby Allin with Sting going up again with Eddie Kingston and John Moxley going up against Bear Country and Anthony Green, who used to be in NXT, right?
Yeah, I was trying to remember him.
I forgot his name in NXT, but he was recently let go and part of the releases just a few months ago, I believe. Was it Austin Green or no? That's an actor. Not entirely sure. But yeah, so we had that promo backstage. We had that matchup. Quick matchup between Darby, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, Bear Country, and Anthony Green. Darby, Mox, and Kingston went over. They got the win. You okay there, Rico?
Yeah, I think the signal is back up. It was a little weak here, but I think we're caught back up. But yeah, I kept looking at Anthony Green, and he looked familiar. I just kept thinking he was Wish Jay White. Like that's what it looked like to me, like from the long hair and then the beard that he had. But I mean, you knew if you're gonna be in the ring against Darby Allin and John Moxley in the same team, like you're not gonna get the win.
It was a pretty quick squash. It was definitely a pretty quick squash. We did have another couple more video vignettes here. We had a video package announcing that Lio Rush is all elite. He's gonna be apparently like the business savvy guy to make profits on more profits to reap on the profits.
He's the antithesis of Cameron Grimes, where Cameron Grimes was all about the stocks and going to the moon. Lio Rush is one of the shorts, like the guys that bet against the company. So I thought that was interesting. I thought Lio Rush said he was retiring. I thought he was going to finish up his last few dates that he had.
I thought so too, but maybe
obligated to fulfill. I guess
maybe good old TK gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I would guess. I mean,
good to see
him. A guy. Yeah,
absolutely. And he's a great guy to talk to too. I mean, we've talked to him on many occasions, so that's actually really exciting to see that Lio Rush is going to be in AEW. FTR also had a video vignette, just kind of reminding everyone, hey, we're here. And then Dan Lambert had an in-ring promo with the Men of the Year. Solid promo. You know what? I kind of want to compare Dan Lambert to Paul Heyman because it's almost kind of like the same type of situation where he's building up all these fighters and things like that, but he's doing it with these wrestlers, with these guys that have legit backgrounds, and I absolutely love those guys, and they're not getting the respect that they deserve in AEW, but I absolutely love what Dan Lambert's doing. We need more of this. I think this is great.
He just shoots straight from the hip, man. He doesn't care. Like he just says what's ever on his mind, and he tells it like it is. Talking about Jericho, AEW's lucky to have Jericho because he took this fledgling company, put it on his back, and got it to where it is today. Like he's kind of dropping in some deep cuts, but I'm just intrigued to see how this is all going to really play out. I would love to see out of all the guys on American Top Team. Like I'm a huge Jorge Masvidal fan. I would not be mad at him jumping over to professional wrestling. I think he would do great at it. I like Junior Dos Santos. I like Andre Arlovsky. They're way past their prime. But if talk about a character, like somebody that could live that life of a professional wrestler
Masvidal,
from MMA, Masvidal would be an amazing fit. And we saw what he did with his running knee. So, to Jericho.
Guys like Masvidal, guys like McGregor, they live that lifestyle. They live in a constant promo. That's what their lifestyle is. And I guess sometimes at a point they probably forget who they actually are and they become that character full time, right?
Yeah, it's a perfect, just a perfect segue to get to that. So I wouldn't mind if they really decide to do something in the ring with them because at this point, what is the end game? Like, are you really just using American Top Team to put over the Men of the Year? If so, okay, but do you have to have all these MMA fighters involved? Or are they actually going to try to do something with these guys? And if they do, like, there's no way American Top Team loses, right? Like, you have to put the legit fighters over the professional wrestlers.
I'm wondering if this is going to set up, like, American Top Team versus the Inner Circle. Like, that's just, to me, like, probably where it's heading. Masvidal just broke Jericho's face last week with that knee strike. They're taunting and talking about it this week. Next week, we might get a response from Inner Circle. Yeah. I got a feeling this is all leading up to maybe a 5-on-5 Inner Circle situation at Full Gear. Now, I might be wrong, but this is kind of like where it's looking, where it's going.
It'd just be, are we going to get trained Jorge Masvidal, Andre Arlovski, and Junior Dos Santos to team up with Men of the Year to be in a professional wrestling match against the 5 guys of the Inner Circle. That remains to be seen, but I'm just really interested to see how they're going to play this off. Like, what's the end game? You know, Dan Lambert, like you said, is killing it on the mic. Great promos, really mixing, crossing that line.
Thank God, because if Dan Lambert wasn't out there talking about this or the Men of the Year, like, people would forget about what's going on right now, right? So I'm glad that he's out there doing the mic work, and the Men of the Year, they got great mic work on their own too. But having Dan Lambert kind of like being the outsider guy, dropping a promo on stupid AEW fans, pretty much what he's calling it, right? I think it's refreshing. I think it's good, it's like something that we're not getting too much in WWE now. Paul Heyman used to do that type of stuff, not anymore. He's all about hyping up Roman and the tribal chief and the greatest right now and I'm dominant and this and that, right? But he doesn't taunt the crowd anymore.
It's just funny because like you see kind of like the WWE-esque version of this with Don Callis, where he stays very much in character in the professional wrestling landscape, where you bring in an outsider like Dan Lambert and he's still being that mouthpiece, but being way more open about, what's shoot and what's a work and really trying to blur that line. But that's what gets you more bought in. It's like, oh, all right, he's saying this. All right, let me listen to what he has to say. Segueing into, the Men of the Year, really showcasing how they are 2 of the top competitors in AEW, but nobody's putting any respect on their name. And one way to get that respect is going to be taking out the Inner Circle, and challenging those guys and beating them. So I think, it's really intriguing way to really get these guys involved while adding in an outside opinion like Dan Lambert and American Top Team. So, we'll just keep an eye on and see how this continues to play out. But another person that's great on the mic, MJF. We alluded to it earlier. He had an in-ring promo talking about the 4 young pillars of AEW. He hit the nail right on the head. This was all shoot. It feels like it's him. It's Sammy Guevara. It's Jungle Boy. Who he beat. And there's Darby Allin. But anyway, forget about that. It's all about me. It's all about MJF. And, of course, Darby Allin comes out. So we now know who the next feud is going to be between Darby Allin and MJF, which is going to be good. And he continues to blur that line, Jose. He bringing in some real life stuff. So again, hopefully it's getting passed by the other wrestler. But man, he's digging deep with a lot of these pulls. Though.
Yeah, man. Like he just dig deep and then he just turned it and just went sideways with it with that promo. But you know what? Darby showed the bigger man. You won't break me mentally. And that really ticked off MJF more than anything.
Say everything you want. Whatever you want. It's not going to bother me. Say it. You know what? Yeah, I'm leaving. We're done here. I'm gone.
A couple more updates here. We had some more video packages. We had Hikaru Shida, who we haven't seen in a long ass time, is going to be going up against Serena Deeb next week for her 50th win. She's going to try to make the good old 5-0 against possibly the greatest technical women's wrestler on the planet in Serena Deeb. I think this is going to be a great matchup, man. Because we haven't seen Hikaru in a long time. It's been months since we've seen Hikaru. And to mix it up with Deeb, I think this is going to be a special match.
Oh, absolutely. Ever since like the Casino Battle Royal, like we haven't seen Hikaru Shida. And again, they're putting a lot of emphasis on this being her 50th win, and being the first woman to do so here in AEW. But it's not an easy task going up against the former NWA champion, women's champion, and Serena Deeb. So, like you said, it's going to be an amazing technical match. I think it's going to be great. And right up there with that match, again, they're building that women's division. We have coming up on Rampage a triple threat match, which we've already seen being alluded to earlier. So we're going to have Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose versus Thunder Rosa. And that's going to be a solid triple threat match to really determine who's, stepping up in the rankings when it comes to that AEW Women's Championship, to see who's going to be the next person, after this continued feud between Ruby Soho and Dr. Britt Baker DMD. Like, it's easy to see the winner of this triple threat match should be in line for a title match, sooner rather than later. So this is going to be a really fun match to watch this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, man. And since we're on the subject of the women's division, we did have a tag team match. Ty J, Anna J, and Ty Conti got a really decisive win against the Bunny and Penelope Ford. Anna Jay with the Queen Slayer, getting the hooks in real deep, getting that solid win. Fun Dynamite. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I'm going to give it between 1 and 10, scoring it this week, comparing it to last week, and the greatest AEW wrestling match of all time. I'm going to give it about. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8. I think an 8 is fair because of the title change. Sammy Guevara, even though I didn't like that they took it off of Miro. We had a great opening matchup. Adam Cole and Jungle Boy absolutely killed it. And that MJF promo was really good too. So what about you?
Yeah, I was trying to debate if I want to give it, a 7.5 or an 8. I'm going to lean towards the 8 side for the things that you said. Plus, again, they're starting to plant those seeds of a little bit of a heelish Cody Rhodes that we might be getting, especially on the cusp of the debut of Rhodes to the Top that was just on right now. Plus, I like the little segment backstage where we have the Lucha Brothers bringing both, not only the AEW Tag Team Championships, but the AAA Tag Team Championships, and having Andrade, even though that wasn't the smoothest of promos with him trying to, at this point, Andrade, just speak in Spanish. Let the subtitles do his job. Or let Alex or, whoever his assistant is, let them speak in English for you. Because it kind of, I felt like it took away the momentum from it, but it set up a potential tag team championship match for those AAA titles versus, the Lucha Brothers and Andrade with another partner. And there's speculation, who knows? I would love to see it happen. Roosh, his contract is running up. So imagine... Mm-hmm. Imagine the debut of Roosh being with Andrade, bringing basically, again, Los Ingobernables de AEW, bringing it closer and closer to fruition. If that is who his partner is and they win those titles, those AAA titles from them, like, again, you just solidify another great tag team in this company that's about tag team. So because of that, I'm going to give it that 8 because just those little extra seeds that they keep planning for future storylines and what's coming up next and setting those storylines like MJF versus Darby Allin, which I think that's going to be a great feud. I think this is the new age of the TNT Championship, Jose. Unfortunately, we're in the Spanish God era of the TNT title. So for that, and, just because I know it had to irk you, a second that he had the main event spot, he dropped the title. I kind of enjoy that. So I'm going to give that an 8, a solid 8 for AEW.
All right, there you go. We got some people in the chat room giving it an 8. Molly Warwick is giving it an 8. Grego John is giving it also an 8. So seems like we're all on the same wavelength. We've had some weeks where everyone is, kind of all over the spectrum, right? But this week it seems like everyone's in the same place. Steven Chambers is saying it'll be confusing having Rush and Leo Rush and Christian Cage and Brian Cage. It's way too much.
And Ethan Page.
Which, by the way, I did not totally meant that for it to rhyme.
Yeah. Not all the time, Jose. No.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump into NXT. Guys, if you're just tuning in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Real important. You go ahead and do that. Smash that notification bell so that way you never, ever miss any new content. We got a bunch of stuff dropping this weekend. We got the draft coming Friday. We're going to have live coverage while SmackDown's going on in real time with full analysis. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Rico Chino. It's going to be Jeremy Bennett. Guys, check it out. Go ahead. Subscribe to the channel. We also got a mock draft up right now. So go ahead and check that out on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel right now. So let's go ahead and jump into NXT 2.0, Rico, because even though the episode was okay, right? The most important thing that we got here was the continuation of Index and the honeymoon.
This is, again, like we thought it was over at the wedding. No, it continues. The amazing storytelling from all the people involved, I thought was great. Of course, Index is on their honeymoon. Johnny and Candice can't help themselves but get themselves involved. We had Johnny basically donning the Shark Boy little hat over here, trying to scare them away from getting a little bit of sexy time in the ocean, which, of course, Candice had to let him know. So where are they now? Oh, they're in the room. What's in the room? A bed. Yeah, what could happen in there? And then she's over there like holding her baby because she is pregnant. It's like, oh. So of course he gets involved, and when he gets poking his nose where it doesn't belong, seeing all the just a long line of condoms, like, who needs this many condoms? Jeez, like, what is all this? And of course he gets caught because they're coming back from the room. He's hiding in the closet, but that was just a great moment of him trying to sneak out when he thought that they were taking a nap, and just Dexter Lumis just sitting there, eyes open, and just that thumbs up. It's so great. Like, everything they're doing is hilarious. I don't want this to end, but it's gonna have to come to an end soon. But
now, I said this many times on the show, not only on here but on our show. I say how my wife watches this stuff, but she's not really a fan, right? But she loves this segment. She loved the whole thing. We went to the wedding live. She absolutely loved it, and she was asking me, "So what are they going to do with Index?" I'm like, "I don't know, probably a honeymoon." So they did the honeymoon. She was cracking up of how corny and cheesy it was, yet it was the best thing on the entire show.
All four of them are just so committed to these roles, and they sell it so well. Between, Index just pretending like, this is real because they're not obviously getting married, but just Johnny's reaction and Candace's responses. It's just, they could be, I could imagine them in some some movies, in some like B or C level movies, with the kind of acting that they're doing here, because they're believing in these characters and they're going along with it, and that brings us into it and makes us enjoy it that much more, because we're giving into the corniness, because we know this is something you would see in just the most random like Hallmark movies kind of thing, but they just give so much into it, and they put 100% of what they can do into it. It is just so fun to watch, and keep adding on, Beth Phoenix and everything she keeps adding on into it, and Wade Barrett and his refusal to try to give into anything that's happening here. Everybody does a really great job, and as corny as this story is, it's been really well done, and it's been entertaining, and that is what it's here for. It's here to entertain us, and I have been thoroughly entertained.
Yes, it's been hella entertaining. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off right now to them, because it's been a really great storyline. But there's been a lot of other stuff that did go down on NXT besides this awesome honeymoon storyline. We had Hit Row open up the show, pretty much going over the entire lineup before B-Fab's match. Now you can tell that there are full-blown baby faces, and I do not like it.
Jose, they literally did a Raw opening to NXT 2.0. Because every single time before, until the most recent Raws, where you had the opener, usually it was Drew McIntyre when he was champion, open the show, welcome everybody to Monday Night Raw, and this is what you're going to see tonight, kind of thing. They literally just did that in this opening promo, where they laid out the entire night. They were very babyface, starting with Ashanti the Adonis, giving it up to the ladies and trying to win over the crowd. Where the ladies at? They went so far babyface, it was kind of sad. Like, it took me out of everything that I had.
I'm surprised. I am surprised that the crowd did not say "you sold out," because NXT fans are quick to point that shit out. I'm surprised they not say "you sold out." Because come on,
this is their Monday Night Raw auditioning tape, and I think this again solidified why.
Right. You're probably right.
You guys talked about it earlier, and I think this laid out the case exactly why we could probably expect Hit Row to be drafted to Monday Night Raw this upcoming Monday. Just because of this. They're extremely talented, and you saw how over the crowd got into it. We got into them when we saw them live. Like, it's so easy to get bought into Hit Row, and I think they're going to, dive really deep into this and really try to push them that far, especially on the main card, especially on Monday Night Raw. It might turn some people away, but hopefully they don't go too far again in the babyface side and come over to Raw very heel to establish themselves how they should be. But
I don't know.
It's just hard to tell.
At this point, I don't even know what they should do with them.
It's so hard, but they're so talented. All four of them. B-Fab is good, but
all right. Well, since we are talking about it,
top dollar. I love him as a big man in the ring. He's great. Ashanti, he's talented in the ring. Mike, not so bad. B-Fab got her ass whooped by Elektra Lopez, as it should have been, because Legado stood tall, and she had to put on the sunglasses because she faded her so bad it hurt her eyes of how bad she beat B-Fab in that ring. So
how bad did she beat her, Rico?
It was so bad she could not look at it. Her butt got so red she had to put them shades on in order to handle it. Like, that's how bad Elektra beat down on B-Fab. So it was all about the ladies. Just unfortunately not B-Fab's night. Even though there were some men's matches in there too. I thought it was gonna be all women's matches the entire night, but I guess the main matches were. So that's the thing, and the main event was. But yeah, it kicked off with Elektra Lopez beating down on poor B-Fab. Keep it going. We got to see Joe Gacy not canceled again, trying to continue on with his gimmick of whatever it is he's doing.
Trying to be a millennial, including everybody, trying to force everyone else to understand how millennials think. I guess that's the gimmick, right?
It's a safe space, Jose. The ring is a safe space. Unless your name is Oni Lorcan, who got beat down by the Samoan Ghost.
Bro.
Zion Quinn, bro.
Good is Zion Quinn, man. And Oni Lorcan's no joke, too, because Oni Lorcan can go. Zion Quinn, man, wow.
He's got
I
the
would
look.
like to see that kid in the bloodline.
Oh, and that's the thing. And we haven't seen the third Fatu brother yet. And we were seeing Zion Quinn lay it down. Like, he has look. He has, doing a little bit of a haka before the match. Like, he is going to be somebody to look out for. Like, they're going to be invested in him. I thought he did a great job. But we did get to see our NXT Tag Team Champions, Jose. Your champion, my champions. MSK. But it looks like we're finally going to see them put those titles more on the line, because not only did they get challenged by the grizzled young veterans, we did have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams saying, hey, you know what? I might use the contract for the tag team titles, and me and Trick can take them off of you. But of course, the new team of Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen,
that's my new favorite tag team,
Country Boys.
That's my new favorite tag team.
I like it. I think this is a great, this generation Beer Money Inc. Like, I think this plays well to who these characters are. And that's kind of something that's missing in this tag team division. So now we got another set of brawlers, just some bar loving guys that just like having bar brawls. And we just got to see this brawl here, and we're going to get an 8-man tag match next week. But I think they're finally showing, again, some interest in the tag team division, because it feels like they haven't put too much emphasis on that any time recently. But we're finally going to be seeing some more tag team action on the men's side when it comes to NXT, which is good.
Yeah, man, talking about tag team action, we did have the women's NXT tag team titles on the line last night, and I surely thought that Io Shirai and Zoe Stark were going to drop it to Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane, but I was wrong. They're keeping it on them. I for sure thought that Io's probably coming up and probably get Zoe a singles career started on NXT. But it looks like that's not going to happen.
I mean, it still could. They could still swerve us and still bring up, whether it's the NXT Women's Champion, who we'll get to at the main event, or even Io Shirai. And if they bring over Io, then they could possibly say, all right, guess what? Zoe, you're going to have to drop the titles. Or if you find a partner, and they try to have her compete with a partner who she's not familiar with, and then they could drop the titles to somebody else. So, you never know exactly how they're going to go, because it wasn't until recently that we started hearing that NXT call-ups might be involved in the draft, when we first thought it was just going to literally just be Raw, SmackDown, just, going back and forth.
Yeah, we know that they are going to be involved this year.
Now we know they're going to call some of these guys up. So basically anybody's on the table at this point, and it could be Io Shirai. So even though we saw this match, and again, it was easy to think, all right, they're going to drop it. The main event was going to be dropped, just because we assumed, all these people are going to get called up. They still could do it, just really trying to subvert our expectations and trying to keep us on our toes. Like, oh, wow. Oh, they did this? All right, how are they going to respond to this on NXT? So this could be one of those situations where, maybe they're going to bring up somebody we weren't expecting, and it changes something with our title or storyline that we have in NXT 2.0.
Yeah, man. And I don't know. we'll see what happens this Friday, starting this Friday. We did have a video vignette here, a video package. Braun Breaker, pretty much he wants to be NXT. He wants to be. He sounds so much like his uncle. Is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
I just close my eyes and that's all I hear. But yeah, so he had a video package. Pretty much, his goal wants to be NXT champion. And telling Tommaso Ciampa he's not a patient guy. Then Tommaso Ciampa responded saying that he knows that their match will happen at some point, but when it does, Breaker's going to drown in an ocean of inexperience. Man. Wise words from old man Ciampa.
Those are beard goals. I'm trying to get my beard as long as Tommaso Ciampa's, but
I don't know if I can commit that much, man.
I got like 4 months to go before I can get anywhere.
I can't. Nah, that's too much, dude. It's too much. We had Boa go up against Andre Chase, where Boa was able to get a win with the assistance of Mei Ying blowing some smoke in Andre Chase's face.
Why would he get in her face like that? He's like no, bro. You don't know.
No, 6 feet, bro. 6 feet. We still got COVID going on, right?
Stay away. That's why even your students are going to be behind you. Andre Chase takes again.
Meanwhile, backstage, after the match is over, they're interviewing LA Knight and Odyssey Jones, and he just walks up. This is bullshit. He just keeps walking.
It's a disqualification. She spit in my face, and that lets that brawl, of course, between LA Knight, and Odyssey Jones, which again, one if not both the guys need to be called up sooner than later. But that's going to be a good match to see, LA Knight versus Odyssey Jones next week. But we did have an amazing match between Roderick Strong and Grayson Waller. Surprisingly enough, the young gunner from 205 Live going straight after the champ, seeing the opportunity, going for it, put on an amazing match with Roderick Strong, which was, pleasantly surprising seeing it from Grayson Waller, because I've seen a little bit of his matches and some of the little basketball-inspired things that he did. But to go up against a technical guy like Roderick Strong was a really, really great showing for him on Tuesday night, even though it was in a losing effort.
I think Roderick might have bit off a little bit more than he can chew with Grayson in this matchup, just because I don't think he was expecting that Grayson was going to bring all that intensity along with all that high flying action. So I think he might have underestimated Grayson. He got the win. I think that was a lucky win with that knee strike, the way that they the way that the finish came about, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Roderick had an idea of how Grayson worked, but he didn't really. That's almost the impression that I got in that matchup.
Yeah, because I felt like Grayson's strength is being unpredictable. Just having his offense is a little different than what you expect in the ring.
Yeah, that's a good word to describe it. Unpredictable.
Because Roderick is very technical. He's very sound. He knows what he's going for. The submissions, the backbreakers. But Grayson is doing all the dribble between the legs and hitting the elbow drop. And he's doing the high flying, jumping over the rope. Like, it's really trying to be really sporadic and catch people off guard. It looks like it caught him a little bit off guard. But of course, him having Diamond Mine in his corners to support him, keep pushing for him. Luckily, that knee strike hit where he did, because he didn't even need to use the end of heartache. He hit him with that knee strike to the face, and that won him the match. So, it's good to see that they're still making Roderick seem that dominant. But, hey, he's got to stay on his toes, because now people are going to be gunning for him, because he is the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. So, I got to be ready for all comers. But I do have to ask you about this, Jose, because I had to ask you about this last week on who this person was. And we finally saw the debut of Lashing Out with Lash Legend. How did you feel about this? And all of the shows that we have with the KO show and now Happy Talk and Ding Dong Hello, where does Lash Legend and Wade Barrett should not do that again. But where does Lashing Out stand out to you in the midst of all of these amazing wrestling talk shows?
All right. I like where it's going from a character standpoint. I like it. It's like Wendy meets Oprah meets how you doing, right? Like it's like the WWE's version of Wendy, right?
Yeah.
She's loud, she's like gossipy, talks about everyone, recommends who you should date and who you shouldn't date. Right? She's like the WWE version of Wendy. I think give it some time. I think it could turn into something. I'm not a big fan of having it pre-taped like that. I would almost prefer for that either to be in ring or maybe on the stage or something. But I think having her show in the ring might make a better, might make a difference as opposed to having a pre-tape the way that she did.
Even Steven Chambers saying it in here. Literally, as you were saying it, he typed in the chat, put her in the ring. Yeah, because it felt so fake. It felt so forced. It felt so very much like old school. You put in the laugh track or the clapping track for everything that she was doing. To me, I imagine her doing this in a room by herself, and they're just feeding in audio, and it doesn't give the same kind of weight to the show. As opposed to if you did it in the ring, where the crowd may not get behind her. Either way, this shows what she can do as this persona. Can she get the people behind her just with her promos, with her mic, with her voice? Or does she have to filter and just, stay behind, stay in front of a green screen and stay in front of a set as opposed to being in front of a crowd? So I don't want to judge it too harshly first, because she did some good things, like you said, like some backstage like goss, like, oh, this is happening, and then some funny things like, oh, that's not the kind of guy you need to be with, like with Cora Jade and Trey Baxter. You need to be with a guy like this, and showing a picture of Ikemen Jiro in his vest, in his his blazer, and everybody like going crazy and happy for him. We want to see that in the ring, because if you did that in the ring, everybody likes Ikemen Jiro. Nobody's gonna boo him when you put a picture of him. So yeah, get it in the ring, show the crowd is behind you, and not feel like it's a forced fake sound every single time that you're, doing a show. So we'll see if this remains to be a backstage segment, or they're actually going to do it in the ring.
I don't know. Maybe they just give her a few, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks worth of the backstage and then bring it into the ring. But I feel like if you bring it into the ring, then you can really gauge how she's doing with the fans,
Exactly.
I think eventually she'll get there. Kyle O'Reilly had a matchup with Ridge Holland, defeating him by pinfall after the match. Von Wagner came out to help out Rovali fight Holland and Pete Dunne off because they started to ambush him. I'm starting to like Von Wagner. I like that. I like that dude.
We'll see what Baby Kane can do, as he continues to develop.
Baby Kane.
NXT 2.0.
Baby Kane or Edge or Wish Edge.
Right, like it's. I'm not sold on him yet. I'm gonna give him a chance, but it's just like, I don't know. We'll see what he can do. They have high hopes, obviously, putting him in the NXT Fatal 4-Way match that we saw last week. But I'm gonna give him a chance. This is my second time seeing him. He's helping out, so we're gonna get a tag team match, of course, between the 4 of them. So we'll see what we can do. But next week we are gonna get the official debut of one Tony D'Angelo, who they've done.
Forget about it.
They've done a couple weeks of vignettes setting up his character, talking about his family. He might be a little connected here and there. So we'll be keeping an eye out to see if he can deliver in the ring as well as he's been doing on the mic. Because, it's about characters now and building them up. So I hope he could walk the walk as well as talk the talk. Because so far I'm like, all right, looks like he can deliver a good promo, but can he deliver in ring? And that is what's really going to solidify yourself in NXT, especially now in the NXT 2.0 with that crowd. Hopefully, Tony D'Angelo can bring it, as well as the women brought it in this main event, man. We had Raquel Gonzalez, your cousin,
La Güera Loca versus La Chingona.
Big mommy cool. And this was one of the ones I honestly thought, like, if it wasn't for the draft, Raquel was going to win easily. But the draft is on her mind. And Raquel is an amazing talent that can easily fit into either one of the other shows. So, okay, wouldn't be surprised if she drops it to Frankie Monet, because if there's anybody that can hold on to a title and be a dominant champion, it's La Güera Loca. It is Taya Valkyrie. It is Frankie Monet. But that didn't happen. Raquel Gonzalez getting that win and retaining her NXT Women's Championship. But not long after, we know who her next competitors are, or at least the next faction that's going to be feuding with her, because Toxic Attraction, they've been making their presence known. They did not win the tag team championships earlier against Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, but they made their presence felt at the end of the show with Mandy Rose leading the charge, saying, you know what?
I'm all about it.
That looks good on you.
Yes.
But it looks better on me. So are we going to see Mandy Rose finally get a championship? Because I don't think she's ever won a title in WWE.
Put a belt on her. Put a belt on Mandy Rose.
She win the NXT Women's Championship from Gonzalez.
She deserves it. She deserves to be a champion Put that championship belt around that woman.
You'll put that belt on her with a brunette hair and all.
Now, here's a question for you: was her hair wet or was her hair greasy last night? I couldn't tell because it looked like she took baby oil and just put it on her head, but I couldn't tell because it was so wet. If it was water or baby, I don't know.
I am not that familiar with hair products, so
you think I am? I'm asking you for a reason.
Fair enough. You might have a little less knowledge than I do, but that's that's a good question, Jose. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess she's trying to go to the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins school of keeping your hair wet when you're going out to the ring. So.
All right, guys. So before we sign off, I did want to address the comment section. I'm seeing a lot of you guys trolling on each other, talking about each other, this and that. I'm going to be very clear here. I don't really like seeing anybody being disrespectful to another person. So if you're going to comment in the chat, be respectful to one another. We're all here to enjoy the shows and talk about the shows. We're not here to alienate one another. We're not here to criticize one another. I know there are some fake accounts, but just be respectful one to another, please. Thank you so much. But with that being said, Rico, how do you score NXT 2.0?
Yeah, it is not as good as AEW was this week. We'll give it a 7. I was gonna say about a 6.5. I was gonna say about a 6.5. The only thing Index,
that I really Index really did a bang up job of just following up on the story and keeping us entertained, right? I really liked Elektra Lopez beating up on BFAB. I just thought that was just awesome.
The right person won in that match. They keep, introducing and developing more of these new characters like Zion Quinn. I thought was a great standout from tonight's action, really developing him. They had the video package on Dante Shen. Like we saw him get a win last week, and they continue to develop him as the only wrestler from Singapore and really staking his claims to represent Singapore in WWE. I like that they planted the seed for the tag team division, so we know more than likely we should get grizzled young vets soon to be NXT tag team champions over MSK. But waiting in the wings, we have Briggs and Jensen. Like that's going to be a solid tag team. We do have Carmelo Hayes continuing to toe that line between babyface and heel, especially alongside Trick Williams, who his mouth might get his friend into a lot more fights than he thought. So I think they planted a lot of good seeds. The women's tag match was good. The women's championship match was good. So I'm gonna give it a nice solid 7.
Nice solid 7. Yeah, 6.5. It's again, it was a slower show. We didn't have Braun Breaker. We didn't have the NXT champ in the show. Might have been a little bit higher if those two guys were there. But it was an off week, and there's nothing. Well, there is something major coming this Friday. That's called the WWE Draft. What? So, I don't know. Maybe they're just keeping it low key, getting in preparation for the draft. We'll see.
All right, guys. We haven't decided what's going to happen yet, so we gotta stay on our toes and we gotta stay tuned. That's the whole idea behind all this.
For real. Guys, tons of exclusive content coming this weekend. We have the live coverage of the WWE Draft this Friday starting around 7:45. We're going to have an early pre-show to kind of cover what's going to go down on SmackDown and what to expect in the draft. And then during the draft, we're going to have live coverage and analysis. So go ahead and tune in, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss when we drop brand new content. We got Rico Chino's brand new mock draft. Go ahead and check that out. See if yours matches up with his. And tomorrow night, Rico and I on Weekends of Wrestling, we're going to have our mock draft. So make sure you tune in, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and like us on Facebook. All right, guys? We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us for this past hour. For Rico El Glorioso, I'm Jose G. And remember, guys, whenever you're watching AEW, whenever you're watching NXT 2.0, what's the most important thing to do, Rico?
Enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.